Hey all, welcome back to another episode of Brave Kids Art Club. My name is Brad, and today we're going to be drawing an animal that I have really wanted to see in the wild, but sadly I've never seen one. I do a lot of backpacking and hiking up in the mountains, even in the Rocky Mountains where they live, and I've still never seen one. So today we're going to draw one, and hopefully that will make me feel just a little bit better. But let me give you a few hints to see if you can figure out which animal it is. This animal can jump up to 20 feet. They can literally run up mountains because of their special hooves. And they run into each other full speed head first. Ooh, that was a good hint, wasn't it? Alrighty, you got it. We are drawing a ram today. And rams are just the male version or boy version of the bighorn sheep. And they call them bighorn sheep because of their giant big horns that the males have that wrap all the way around. They're really cool looking animals and I cannot wait to draw them. So let's make sure we have all of our tools ready to go and let's go. All right, of course we need a nice clean sheet of paper. We're also gonna need a pencil because we're gonna do some sketching, and when we do our sketching, we inevitably are gonna have to use an eraser. Either we mess up or we just wanna get rid of it because we're gonna do our final outline with a dark marker or a pen. And then at the very end, we're gonna do some Jeez, that was, that's a really big bag of markers. Man, I shook my whole desk. We're gonna do some coloring, and I'm gonna be using my markers, but you can use crayons, pencils, paint, whatever you like. That'll all work just fine. All right, let's start with our sketch. Now I'm gonna do some pretty basic geometric shapes to kind of get an idea of where things live, because sometimes these four-legged animals can be a little bit trickier, especially those legs. So let's start with maybe like a rectangle. We can figure out the main shape and how much space it takes up on our page. But I want to make sure I know where all the different body parts are going before I get too far. So I'm going to try to put this somewhere in the middle. I want to leave room for their legs. All right, we get something like that. See, I'm leaving a tiny bit more room on the right-hand side because I got to fit that head in there. I'm going to draw a little circle right over here for the head of our ram. And then maybe we'll connect it real quickly like this. Now this is not going to be what it looks like at the very end. We're going to do a lot of changes, but if we get an idea, kind of make a simple skeleton of our ram, that can be really helpful. All right, so we got the kind of the main body shape. Let's see, maybe we should do the snout, the front part of their mouth where their nose is. Maybe something like this. We'll come down, and then we'll do one right over here, a line kind of more horizontal, and then we'll kind of round it off over here. We're going to do some things here to the mouth, probably make them smile. But for now, I just want to see how much space this is going to take up. Now that might be just a little bit big. So if I notice that, I can change that now. I'm going to actually bring this down a little bit, and I'm going to kind of bring it in like that. Okay, that feels a little bit better to me for now. We'll probably make some other little changes here and there. Let's do maybe the horns. That'd be kind of fun. Let's see how big those horns are. I mean, that's where they get their name, bighorn sheep, because of how big these horns are. So let's go back, maybe bring this around and maybe bring it right over here, like that. There we go. That looks better. Now it's starting to curve around the side of their face. That usually, so they grow their horns their whole life. They keep their horns. They don't shed them like some of the other animals that we've learned about, like moose and deer, where their antlers fall off. These are legit horns that stay on their head, and you can tell how old they are by how big these are. So when they start wrapping around here, that usually means they're around 8 years old, and they live to be about 10 years old. So this is an older ram with a big set of horns. They even say these horns can weigh up to 30 pounds. Isn't that incredible? Those are heavy horns. They must have a really strong neck. And we'll talk about that strong neck actually a little bit more in a second. But let's make sure that we got everything here. So I like the way that this curves around. They kind of got thicker horns. Like that. Okay, that's kind of, at least that we have an idea of where the horns are and the size of the head. I like the shape of it all. Maybe let's start adding the legs and just make sure everything's proportionate. Everything's the right size compared to other things on the body. So on the back end, it's not going to be a square. it's gonna be more rounded off. So we're gonna round this off back here, like that. Yeah, that looks a lot better. And then we're gonna do that funky back leg on those four-legged creatures. Here we go. They always they gotta really think about how these legs work because they're not really very intuitive, not very easy to draw sometimes. All right, so we got that shape. You kind of bring it, goes from the back end, it goes in, then it goes back out, and then it drops down right back there. Whew. All right, let's draw maybe where the hoof comes in, and they have a really cool hoof. So let me show you that in a second. Let's kind of start wider. We'll kind of taper it in, and we'll come up like this. And then we're just gonna kind of connect that right here, their back thigh. Whew. And now their hooves usually look like, if you're gonna go at the bottom of their foot, you'll kind of see them come in like this. But we're just gonna simplify it a little bit because we're the artists and we can do that. We can make this a little bit more simple for ourselves. You don't have to do all that detail, but we can still make it look like the type of hoof that they have because they have split hooves like this. And on the bottom of them, they're really, really rough so that they can grip the rocky surfaces that they're on. They're in a lot of, not just Rocky Mountains is the name of it, but they also are in very rocky areas. And so when they climb up mountains and things like that, they need that grip. So on the bottom, it's really rough. They can even grip like edges, like little edges that are probably like 2 inches wide. They can still get their little hooves on there and walk on it because of the grip that they have. So that was really cool. They're really good. Probably the only thing that climbs better than them is mountain goats. And yeah, those are crazy. We'll probably draw one of those at some point. Alrighty, so that's what that hoof looks like. I might have to move it down, but let's see. Let's add the rest of the legs here. Let's go in the front. I want to see if this is. Now the hoof. Now the one mistake a lot of times we make is we'll start going from this line and go straight down and make a leg. Well, they actually kind of have their chest puff out just a little bit, so you want to start that leg a little bit in, just a little bit further back. And then we'll kind of go up like that. So that's the distance. And then we're gonna make a little, we'll shape that in a second. But let's start by kind of going in here, curve that in a little bit. We're gonna drop this straight to about here. Yeah, see that leg might be a little short. Maybe I'm making this part too long. I'm not really sure. We'll figure it out. And then we'll draw another, yeah, let's do it that way. Sometimes I draw a lot of lines. You'll have to excuse me. I draw a bunch of lines and then I kind of have to go and clean it up. That's why I got my eraser out, because I need to clean up some of those lines that I make. I get a little carried away. So maybe we'll bring that down here. So this part's gonna have to come down. If it helps, sometimes you can draw a line across here to kind of figure out where the ground is, so that all the hooves match up. So that's gonna be the case with this one in the back. We're gonna move that, probably move that down a little bit, even if that means like making that a little bit thicker and moving this part down. You can totally do that. It's a good time to do it is right now before you get too far into your illustration. Okay. We got that leg, and so then we're gonna do this one's gonna match up with that as well. There we go. There we go. And then you can put the bottoms of those hooves on. Maybe even put a little line right here and here, and we'll split them. Easy peasy. And then we'll do the back, the ones, not the back legs, but the ones on the other side of our ram here. And it's gonna be a little bit higher, so if you need to draw another little line, go ahead and do that, so we know that this is gonna be a little bit higher because it's further away. It's just how that works. I'm gonna kind of go like this. There we go. Kind of copying that one, maybe leaning it forward just a little bit more. Trying to keep the hooves pretty much the same size. And then maybe we'll go down like this. Like that. Maybe that needs to go up a little higher. Something along those lines. And we'll draw another hoof back there. Does that sound good? Are those a little too high? Maybe they're a little too high, so maybe we'll bring those down here. We'll draw that line again. Just forgive me. I'm going to draw that line just a little bit lower, and we're going to do those. Luckily, we already got the lines there. We just need to draw the hooves again. So we'll kind of have it go down like that. There we go. I felt like it was just a little bit too far. All right. There we go. That feels so much better. Awesome. Well, this is looking really good. Now let's start kind of finessing and making the rest of this feel a little bit more accurate as we go along. It's not all just boxes and things. So maybe I'll start from maybe the belly. Let's do a rounded off belly. Like this. Just a little curve under here. Like I said, they weigh about 300 pounds. They're not small animals. They're about 300 pounds. They can, I think they're 5-6 feet tall. They're really big sheep. And then we're gonna do that chest here. Okay, this is how it's gonna look. So I'm gonna actually start up a little higher. I'm gonna go out like this and bring this a little wavy, woo, like that. That looks good, I like that. And so I'll erase some of this extra stuff on the side. All right, this is looking pretty darn good, I think. If you need to slow down, or if you need me to slow down for you, go ahead and just press pause and then kind of catch up to where you need to. But you're probably faster than I am. Okay, now I'm gonna bring this back. I'm gonna bring it down just a little bit to about here. And then I'm gonna give them a little hump on their back because this is actually where their shoulder blade would be. And I'd imagine they got lots of muscles here. Lots and lots of muscles right about here. Why do you think they have muscles right there next to their back, or the top of their back near their neck? That's right, because they ram their heads together. So they've got to be super muscly, and their neck has got to be super, super strong if they're going to run as fast as they can and hit each other. Now that's like 20 miles per hour. That's like driving in a neighborhood. That's how fast it is. That's faster than the average person can even run. And they run that fast just head first and bonk heads together with those big horns, which they actually do because they're trying to impress the females, the girls. And they do that to try to impress them, so they'll run into each other head first. But they have to have a really strong neck to do that. So we'll draw that little lump there on the back for their muscles. We're gonna make sure this all looks good. Make sure we're happy with that. Now they do have an ear, so we're gonna fit their ear in here. Let's do the little ear, maybe like right about here. Oh, maybe right around there, kind of like a little leaf shape. There we are. Now the face actually looks a little bit different. I still think the face looks a little too big. Now I have two different types of eraser. I have a kneaded eraser and I have this other eraser. This kneaded one is nice if I just want to go lightly over some of my areas and then be able to leave it so that I can still see what's underneath. Just make it a little lighter so I can use it as a guide. So it's still there. I don't know if you can still see it on the camera, but it's still there. I'll use it as my little guide here. So I'm gonna do this little shape right here. We're gonna kind of go down where the top of the head is. And then we're gonna do one more little lump right here. They kind of have we drew a goat before, and you saw that big kind of, the arch right there on their nose. And then we have one more right here for where their mouth is. There we go. And then I'm gonna do just a line back here. Maybe about there, maybe a little lower. And then another one down here, because the mouth's gonna be open and happy. And we'll draw the bottom of the chin. And then it should just go straight across here. Now that looks a little silly, so I'm gonna fix that up a little bit. Or you could just make them smiling. Maybe do that. Maybe just make them smiling right away. There we go. I like that better. We got a happy ram. There we go. I like that a lot better. So you can do whatever you want. It's your illustration, so you do what you want with your ram. But that's what I think I'm going to do right there. I like that. And then I'm going to give him his nose here. Okay. There we go. Little nose on there. And we're going to draw some other markings that'll really make this look like a bighorn sheep, a big ram. But we'll do that with our coloring. So now let's do the big eyeball. Let's do that. A little big friendly eyeball right about here. There we are. He's a friendly little guy, or big guy, I should say. Awesome. I really like how this is turning out. This is going to be fun to color. Really fun to color. So now let's do the little tail. And now they don't have a big tail. They kind of have a little short tail right on the back there. We'll kind of go whoop, whoop, whoop. There we go. Oh, what should we name him? Oh, I'm trying to think of a good name. I'll come up with one. Okay, let's make sure we have the horns kind of connect to the head okay, like this. And then we'll give them maybe some lines so that you can see, almost like rings on a tree, how old they are. These cool lines right here. There we are. Maybe I might actually do one more little, because they're not perfectly round, so they do kind of have a cool shape to them. So I'm gonna add this extra line in here. Now that might be unnecessary, but you can do it if you'd like. All right, I think we're now at the point where we should probably start erasing some of this stuff in here that we're not going to use, which is a really important step so that you don't forget when you get to pulling out your pen or your marker to do your outline. You don't want to be drawing over the wrong parts. So I'm going to make sure I erase all that stuff so I can get right to my outlining and not make any mistakes. All right, so let's get drawing this outline. I always get kind of antsy to draw the outline because I just want to get coloring. I really like the coloring part, so I want to get it finished, but you can't rush it too much because you can't go back from a permanent marker here, at least in my case. Can't erase the marker. So there we go. Draw the line there. Ooh. Is there an animal that you've just always wanted to see in the wild that you've never seen before? What are some of those animals that you've always seen and that you see like pictures of, or you see them at the zoo and you're like, this would be really cool to see out in the wild? What animal is that? These rams just look so cool. You know, honestly, it's actually been a mountain goat too. I don't think I've seen a mountain goat out in the wild. I don't think so, but I think they'd be really cool. They're just really cool animals. The fact that they can climb such really steep edges and things like that in the mountains is really impressive. Now you'd think because they got these really hard hooves on the bottom of their feet that have a hard time walking on rocks. That's what I would have thought. But that's the reason why they also have their split hoof, because it works because it can kind of move around things and kind of grip a little bit better. But they also, you know, it's probably nicer to have something that's real sturdy on your feet. That's probably why you wear big, you know, hiking boots and things to protect your feet. They probably have pretty protected feet, I would assume. But yeah, they run uphill. They can run up a mountain at 15 miles per hour. That is crazy. That's about as, like if you were to run really, really, really fast, you could probably get up to 15 miles per hour. An adult could. You know, if you were like a sprinter or anything like that, you really were a big time runner, you can run a lot faster than that. But most of us probably, if you're in good shape, you could probably run about 15 miles per hour. But try doing that up a hill or up a mountain. That is impressive. All right, let's do this. I gotta be slow and deliberate. That means careful and steady. Make sure I know exactly what I'm doing, making the lines very careful. There we go. I got a little sloppy there. So I want to make sure I slow down and get those right. Ooh. Should I add like a, yeah, you know what? We can kind of do this little thing in the ear. And you can have more fun with that as you color it in. So you got the top of the head. Kind of got that shape. There we go. Do the mouth. Now they have flat teeth because they're herbivores. We'll get their nose in here. Now sometimes it's kind of hard to see what you're drawing because your sketch gets in the way. Your pencil gets in the way, so I gotta kind of take that out so I can see what I'm doing. I'm gonna draw that eyeball. Ooh, if you have a hard time drawing circles, maybe the cap of like your marker or something like that, you can lay down and trace around it. A lot of times I'll use objects around my space around my house to help me draw circles, because they are very hard to draw. Okay, oh yeah, I need to add the lines here for the horns. So the female version of the bighorn sheep is called an ewe. Ewe? Maybe it's pronounced ewe. Ewe or an ewe? You'll have to look that up. What is it? Is it ewe or ewe? But that's the female version. The male version, obviously, we're drawing is a ram. And they actually separate themselves. As they get older, they separate into separate groups. They have girl groups and guy groups that go off. And then they only kind of come back together, and when they show off and they try to find the guys, the rams, try to get the girls. Okay, well, I think I'm in a good spot where I can just start erasing and then start coloring. So hopefully you had fun drawing your ram and you're ready to get some coloring done. We'll just catch up right after. I'll just do that, and then I'll see you right after the coloring. And our ram is finished. Oh, I'm really happy with how he turned out. Are you happy with how yours turned out? Good, that's what's most important, that you had fun and you're happy with how it looks. And every time we're happy with how ours looks, what do we need to do? That's right, we need to own our work and write our names on here so everybody knows that this is our drawing. Well, I appreciate you guys. Oh, I forgot. I do appreciate you guys. I do appreciate you. But I also just remembered that I named him Jared. I really like the name Jared here for my ram. I think that works really well. So, did you guys come up with a name for yours? All right, well, that's cool. Well, I'd love to see what you guys made. You guys are so awesome at sending in your work and showing me pictures of what you guys make. I love it. And you can keep doing that. Just have your parents go to Brave Kids Art Club on Instagram, and they can tag us at Brave Kids Art Club, or they can just direct message us or email us. Your parents are awesome, and they send us photos of your work all the time. So thank you guys so much. Maybe it'll end up in one of our Friday episodes at the very end where I show off your work, which would be really cool. But all right, make sure that you guys are subscribed to the channel. We do this Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. We have so many videos, so if Tuesday and Thursday or even the weekend you want to draw more animals, we have lots and lots that you can do. So thank you guys so much. This is the highlight of my day, like I said. And remember, before I let you go, be brave, be creative, but most importantly, be you. All right, we'll see you guys next time.